This 6-step healing process you can combine in with any of the modalities that you already know. But I absolutely guarantee that these 6 steps work when you remember to do them. You don't always have to do all 6 of them because it depends how upset or how bad stuff is. But in business, managing your emotions is key to your success, because what you don't want is huge feasts and famines. And so you need your emotions as well to flow more easily. So this is really, really key. But also, because business is a journey of personal development and can be exhausting and stressful and challenging, this process will help and won't cost you loads of money. Now, I still believe absolutely in going to somebody else for coaching or healing or whatever, but this process will mean that you don't have to go quite so much. And when you go, you could be working on the really deep stuff as well. So I really, really recommend it. So you start off with point 1. Sometimes you don't need this, but if you are completely and utterly overwhelmed, you're just at the end of your tether, you are distraught, you are it's just awful, then what you first need is a distraction or some external support. This is what Esther Hicks calls get out ahead of the negative thoughts. You need a complete break from it. So this is the things that you do that give you a complete break. This is watching a film, seeing a friend for a chat, having some healing, listening to some music, something that just breaks that thing, that just distracts you for a moment from that overwhelming, all-encompassing thing that's going on. Okay, so that is step 1. And it depends on how upset you are as to whether you need that or not. So I'll give you an example. On Friday, an hour and a half into it, I realized I was still quite shocked by having this Polish woman screaming at my front door. It's just not, but I'm all like, I don't understand. It's where I return back into I don't understand why people are mean and why people are nasty and why people are aggressive and why people, and I revert back into that. And I was, on my own and worried about Willow, my daughter, and all the rest of it. But because it was going to affect another girl at school, I phoned that mum. Harry's brilliant. It was brilliant. That was what I needed first. The way that she approached it was the chat that I needed in order to not feel quite so overwhelmed, in order to then take it the next step forward. Another example is I watched Michael. I don't know if you've ever watched Michael, the film about Archangel Michael, last night. It's on Netflix, by the way, until June the 30th. I love it. And some films, whereas television shows aren't quite long enough, a film can immerse you for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that's what you want. You want to immerse yourself and just shut down everything for a bit. Then you come back to it. And you come back to what I said before. Never miss this bit. This is the key bit. You sit down and you say, it's okay to feel shit. Excuse me. It's okay to feel shit. It really, really is. Really, really is. It's okay to feel upset. It's perfectly reasonable. And you sit down and you say, you keep saying it to yourself. It's okay you feel upset because somebody turned up at your door unannounced. It's okay that makes you feel a little bit unsure about whether people are going to keep turning up. It's okay that actually that's pressed some buttons about the fact in the past people have, behaved shitty and thought they could get away with it. It's okay that you don't quite understand and you're a little bit like, why did that woman just turn up on my doorstep? It's okay. It's all of that is okay. Just sit there and go, it's okay to feel like that. 100%. And only as you start to feel, it's not gone, but as you start to feel that inner resistance just going, as you start to feel slightly less upset about it, then you can switch to journaling. And that's when I would say, I feel sad because, I feel upset because, I feel angry because. And you just want to vomit everything out of your head onto the page. It's brilliant when you've got a relationship issue, when somebody's behaved badly, you need to get it all out. Sometimes you need to tell the whole story, but a lot of the time it's you, as you start to write, you'll start to understand what meaning you've put behind it, because you're upset because you've put meaning behind it. You've created a meaning. This means that people are like this, that people think about me like this, that this is going to happen forever, that all this. It's those meanings that are the issue. It's the assumptions that are the issue. And so it's about journeying into those, to find out what's going on. And generally, if you're really upset, it's a button to something else. So as I started to work my way through things, I realized my upset on Friday was purely because there was a bigger member of my current life who thought that it was okay to behave like a dickhead. Sorry to swear in, but behave like a dickhead. Be told you're behaving like a dickhead. Somehow or other, it'd be my fault they were behaving like a dickhead. And for them to think there should be no consequences, and suddenly they were a victim of their dickheadedness. But somehow it was my fault that I had suddenly decided I wasn't putting up with dickheadedness anymore. And in actual, and something had bothered me that day. I had found out that someone had been like, oh, I thought you, I couldn't understand why the children didn't want to get any Father's Day presents. It's because somebody else had contacted them and organised one. Because, the poor person suffering the consequences of his actions. Like I wouldn't have done a Father's Day present, even though he didn't get me a Mother's Day present. But anyway, there we go. So that's what was bothering me. It was that button. And at that point, you then do some healing. Now, if it's a huge issue, you might need some physical support. You might need some healing from somebody else. But, Joe at this point would step in and do some EFT. I would do a healing meditation. That's what I would do. Very similar to what you're going to see me do repeatedly. Ground, find where in the body the upset is, bring healing energy into that area of the body, let go of all the crap. Very simple. That's what I would do. Then, if it's been a really, really big deal, I would then journal the future, which is something we're going to do in a minute. So you start to go, in my future, I am like this, or my relationships are like this, my body, my business is like this. Jessica Caver Lindholm does this every morning for half an hour, journals her future. It feels a bit pressured for me. I can't cope with that. De Martini has a master plan for his life, which is this thick. Okay, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, honestly. I did try to create a vision. He actually has a whole course that you can go on. I can't remember. I think it was like 5 days to create your vision for your life. Oh my God, that master plan was like the most complicated thing to ever keep up to date. It was just hell. It was horrific. But journaling your positive future is a really, really good way of connecting in to your future. And then sometimes I do love a doodle. I do love doodling my heart formations. Let's see if I've got one in here. Yes, that's back to front. It's a very simple one. It says, I commit to feeling the magic and feeding my battery. It's when I was a little bit off kilter at one point. And this was
my one.
I love that. I am amazing. Brilliant. And this one, I was actually part of an exercise as well. So remembering who I was, because, we do forget sometimes. I think one that I did a little while ago.
Yeah, I write mine down on post-it notes as well.
Yes, that's good. And Willow's, I've now got a lovely whiteboard, and Willow now writes messages to me on it. It's good. It's good. I think I love computers. I'm very techie, but I do love a whiteboard. Do love a whiteboard. I do recommend, so in my journal at the beginning, I will have my most key things. So mine did say, feel the magic, feed the battery at the beginning of this journal. Washi tape, obviously mandatory. And rather than affirmations, I use something called choices. So I put them at the front of my, they're a bit shorter than an affirmation. So things like, I choose no limits. I choose that I am enough. I choose total freedom. Choices can, and you can do those in the shower. I do recommend doing it, right? Even though I've just said, you know, that the law of attraction doesn't necessarily attract stuff into your life, but no, you can reach your destiny more quickly. You can flow to it more quickly. You know, you can make your journey easier if you do use the law of attraction. So, right.